Gulshan Kumar, the 5th of May 1956 to the 12th of August 1997, was an Indian businessman, film and music producer who was the founder of the Super Cassettes Industries Limited T-Series music label in the Bollywood industry. He founded T-Series in the 1980s and established it as a leading record label in the 1990s. After his death, T-Series has since been run by his younger brother Krishan Kumar and son Bhushan Kumar. His daughters Tulsi Kumar and Khushali Kumar are also playback singers. Gulshan Kumar was the son of a fruit juice vendor who worked the streets of the Daryaganj neighborhood in the heart of Delhi. His family came as refugees from the Jand province of West Punjab after the anti-Hindu riots during the partition of India in 1947. Dua started working with his father from an early age. Gulshan Kumar was a devoted worshipper of Shiva and especially Vaishno Devi. He sung many religious and traditional songs in favor of almost all major deities in Hinduism. Due to traditional faith, love and respect towards Vaishno Devi, he ran a free of cost meal assistance service in which free meals are offered as prasad to all the devotees visiting Vaishno Devi temple. It was first started in 1983 at Ban Ganga location, which is situated in between of the Vaishno Devi temple's pilgrimage. Even after his sad demise in 1997, the service still continues till today and is widely revered all across India. His son Bhushan Kumar now manages the service. Dua changed career paths when his family acquired a shop selling records and inexpensive audio cassettes, which foreshadowed the onset of a vast music empire. Gulshan Kumar started his own audio cassette operation known as Super Cassettes Industries, which turned into a profitable business. He began a music production company in Noida. As his business started growing, he moved to Mumbai. His first movie in Bollywood was Lal Dupatta Malmal Ka in 1989. Next was the big hit Ashiki in 1990, which is remembered for its music by Nadeen Shravan. His other movies included Bahar Aane Tak, Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahin, I Milan Ki Raat, Meera Ka Mohan, Jeena Mana Tera Sang and Bawafa Sanam. During the life of Gulshan Kumar, T-Series emerged as one of the top music labels in India. It continues to be a major label. Today T-Series controls more than 60% share of the Indian music market. In international market, T-Series enjoys a turnover in excess of $4.2 million and exports to 24 countries across 6 continents. In India, it has the largest distribution network of over 2,500 dealers. Gulshan Kumar died in a shooting outside the Jeeteshwar Mahadev Mandir, a Hindu mandir dedicated to Lord Shiva, of which he attended daily in Jeet Nagar, Andheri west suburb of Mumbai on the 12th of August 1997. He was shot 16 times. On the day of the assassination, his bodyguard provided by the Uttar Pradesh government was sick. Although he had received 2 threatening calls, on 5 and the 8th of August 1997, Kumar refused to pay the extortion money. The hired killers, including Rauf and Abdul Rashid, conducted reconnaissance for a month, but did not proceed because of the armed bodyguard. At 10:40 am, while returning from the temple, he was confronted by one of the assassins who said, "Bahut puja kar li, ab upar jaake karna, you have done enough puja prayer, now do it up there." Initially, Kumar survived and sought shelter in nearby huts, but residents shut their doors. His driver Suraj was shot in both legs as he tried to shelter Kumar. A Mumbai underworld organization called D Company is considered to have been responsible for this assassination. The police also accused film composer Nadeem Safi of the music duo Nadeem Shravan of having paid for the murder due to a personal dispute and fled the country after the murder. However, on the 9th of January 2001, Abdul Rauf merchant known as Raja confessed to being the murderer. On the 29th of April 2002, Sessions Judge M.L. Tahilyani sentenced Rauf to life imprisonment, stating that he was not imposing the death penalty because the prosecution had failed to prove that Rauf was a contract killer. The police alleged that Safi paid Abu Salam, a known associate of Dawood Ibrahim, to assassinate Dua and assigned Rauf to the job, but it just so happened that Ibrahim and Abu Salam were already planning on murdering Dua as he had refused to pay protection money to D Company as part of an extortion attempt. As per his family's wishes, Gulshan Kumar was cremated in a Shamshan cremation ground in Delhi. Abdul Rauf alias Dodd Merchant was convicted in 2002 for the murder of Gulshan Kumar. He fled India after he was granted furlough by the Bombay High Court in 2009. He was extradited from Bangladesh in 2016. He is currently in the high-security Arthur Road jail in Mumbai. T-Series is still running and operated and has a widespread base across India. In 2017, T-Series announced plans to produce a biographical film about Kumar titled Mogal, the Gulshan Kumar story. T-Series was founded on the 11th of July 1983 by Gulshan Kumar, at the time a fruit juice seller in the Daryaganj neighborhood of Delhi. The company initially sold pirated Bollywood songs prior to releasing original music. Back then, the Indian audio cassette market was small scale, with widespread piracy, but there was growing demand for cassette music. According to Rediff, while Kumar was involved in piracy, he was passionately market and consumer driven. The company also took advantage of loopholes in copyright law allowing for the release of cover versions of songs, which T-Series would then flood the market with. Researchers Lawrence Liang and Ravi Sundaram wrote, T-Series was a profoundly disruptive force in the Indian music market, in large part because it was a tremendously successful pirate. The company built its catalog through a variety of quasi-legal and illegal practices. T-Series engaged in more straightforward copyright infringement in the form of pirate releases of popular hits, and it often illegally obtained film scores before the release of the film to ensure that its recordings were the first to hit the market. Kumar discovered that there was also a market for devotional music, and began recording and selling it. Kumar noticed that many elderly Hindu followers could not read hymns and chants because of failing eyesight, so Kumar hired singers to record the chants and sold them as cheap cassettes. Later, he filmed major Hindu pilgrimages in India and sold them on VHS and video cassette tapes. T-Series' first original film soundtrack release was for Lallu Ram in 1984, with music scored by Ravindra Jain. Citation needed. The company's breakthrough came when it released the soundtrack for the 1988 Bollywood blockbuster Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak, also known as QSQT, directed by Mansoor Khan and starring Amir Khan and Juhi Chawla. The Qayamat Se Qayamat Tak soundtrack, composed by Anand Milind and written by Majroo Sultanpuri, became the best-selling Indian soundtrack album of 1988 and one of the best-selling Indian soundtrack albums of the 1980s, with more than 8 million units sold. The biggest hit song from the album was Papa Kehte Hain, sung by Udit Narayan and picturized on Amir Khan. T-Series founder Gulshan Kumar soon played a key role in Bollywood's cassette boom of the late 1980s with his affordable T-Series albums. T-Series later became a leading music label with the release of Ashiki 1990, directed by Mahesh Bhatt. The Ashiki film soundtrack album, composed by the duo Nadeem Shravan, sold 20 million units in India, and is the best-selling Bollywood soundtrack album of all time. A cover version of Dhir Dhir from Ashiki was later sung by Yo-Yo Honey Singh and released by T-Series in 2015. T-Series was largely responsible for sparking a boom for the Indian music industry in the early 1990s. Many of the best-selling Bollywood music albums of the 1990s, particularly those composed by Nadeem Shravan, were released under the T-Series label. Besides music production, the company also began venturing into film production. The annual earnings of T-Series grew from 20 crore rupees $16 million in 1985 to 200 crore rupees $88 million in 1991, and by 1997 had reached 500 crore rupees $140 million. In 1997, T-Series founder Gulshan Kumar was murdered by the Mumbai Mafia Syndicate D Company. His assassination also led to T-Series losing its most prolific musicians at the time, Nadeem Shravan, due to Nadeem Akhtar Safi initially being accused of involvement in the murder, before later being exonerated. After Gulshan Kumar's death in 1997, the company has since been led by his son Bhushan Kumar with the help of Gulshan's younger brother Krishan Kumar. As a film production company, T-Series has had some moderate success. The highest-grossing T-Series film production to date is the critically acclaimed sleeper hit Hindi medium 2017, written by Zeenat Lakhani, directed by Saket Chaudhary, and starring Arfan Khan and Sabaa Qamar. It grossed 322.4 crore rupees $44 million worldwide, with $34 million in China alone, becoming one of the top 20 highest-grossing Indian films of all time. One of the most expensive Indian films was T-Series' Saho, a sci-fi thriller with a production budget of 300 crore rupees equivalent to 317 crore rupees of 42 million United States dollars in 2020, released in 2019. T-Series is also producing a biopic film based on the life of its founder Gulshan Kumar, called Mughal, which is currently under production and is scheduled for release in 2019.